All right, I do have, have jackets. So, Michael, looking good as always. When I heard the opposition questioning the Prime Minister about the borrowing and what he's doing, and the budget was unrealistic, and yet they have no answers what they would do. Mm-hmm. You know, we just talked about it. Every country in the world is borrowing money. The United States have printed money twice. Under Trump, they did about $2.5 trillion. Under Biden, they did another $2 trillion. That's $5 trillion. That's a lot of money. To keep the economy going. Barbados next door, what did they do? They just borrowed $1 billion. Apart from the fact that Barbados has their own central bank, and to a certain extent, they can print money up to a certain point on their own without discussing it. In the islands here, the OECS, right? Yeah, we can't do that because the 8 islands have to get together if they had to do that with the EC dollar. That's why the EC dollar remains so strong and resistant, because, you know, too many people have to agree before they jump and do certain things. I just made my initial opening. I don't know if Peter wants to say a few words before I get down to...
Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Cabot issue because
you see, the situation is, I know we have said that over and over, okay? First of all, Raffles owned, Cabot State owned the land. That land was sold to, it was there for years, doing absolutely nothing. Barren land, okay? How many acres of land? The people have come in, you know, and bought this land. But what St. Lucians fail to understand, they look at different people who have been successful in life. It's not what you own, it's who does the job. You have certain people behind the scene that can make things happen. You take a man like Butch Stewart, okay, who came from nothing, had a little fishing boat and doing a couple of little things there, but he had an idea, he worked extremely hard, and he developed a business. Same thing with Cabot. Cabot started years ago, have developed a reputation. Now tell me something. The first thing they're going to say is that, oh, he sold our land and he got the money. That's what they're going to say. But the land was there for 15 years. Why didn't you sell it yourself? You have to bring people in to run things. When you get ill, don't you go to a doctor? Why? Yeah. Because he knows what he's doing. If you want legal advice, you go to a lawyer. When you want development, you go to a developer. And we have to understand that there are different grades of development. There are people who can do certain things and there are people who cannot. Sorry.
Yeah, there's another aspect to it, Sir Michael and Champagne, which we have to speak about. It doesn't matter what you say, Sir Michael. I'm sorry to have to tell you that. It doesn't matter what you say, Champagne. It doesn't matter what I say. The St. Lucia Labour Party in opposition, the members of Parliament especially, they will continue singing from the same hymn book. You know why? There's an example the world over that all of us know. Take the former President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. He lost the last elections in the United States. They went to all kinds of different courts, local courts, the state courts, the Supreme Court in the United States. At every stage, they brought like 60 cases or more. They lost. Every opportunity Trump and his followers, the henchmen around him, has, they still repeat the nonsense about the elections were stolen. That is the modus operandi of the Labour Party. And these are the guys who used to try to compare Alan Chastanet, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, with Trump. It doesn't matter what we say. The Labour Party knows the truth, just like Trump and his henchmen in the Republican Party in the United States know the truth about the elections. But they had planned to say that anyway. Because don't tell me in this mighty United States, Champagne, you and I know, Sir Michael must know, everybody must know, that Trump knew everything that was going on, including the coronavirus, right? Every time he stood to speak about the coronavirus, what did he do? He make it look as if Chinese brought it in. It was in China. You knew about it since January last year. What did you do as President of the United States to save your people? You understand the question?
Yeah.
And yet, every opportunity he has, he call it the Hong Kong flu, the Chinese flu, the Conky flu, whatever flu. So that is putting in his people's minds. He repeats. Exactly the copybook the St. Lucia Labour Party is using. They know the truth about Cabot. They know the truth about Cabot State. These guys are not spring chicken. Some of these guys were born just 5 short years after me. They know. But they have to keep repeating the lies, repeat. So the more you repeat psychologically, the more people, but that might be true. So why is he saying it so often if it's not true? Some simple-minded people, that is what you do. And when you train in animals, and even your children, that's what you do anyway. You repeat the lesson, repeat, so that it eventually sticks in the child's mind. The same thing happened to adults. So the Labour Party cannot stop their propaganda because they have learned that if they repeat a lie, some people are going to believe it. And that is why this radio station and the television station that is recording this discussion this morning must continue to make the people understand the truth.
Yeah.
And every lie the opposition says, there must be 10 people correcting the lies so that the people are not fooled by the opposition.
Right.
We want, let me
Sure.
we want to stay on that for a little bit because so Michael and Mr. Josie, you all would know much better than myself. The Cabot State lands, currently Cabot, wasn't it private ownership?
Definitely.
Right. So what I want to find out, why is there so much of an involvement from the government, the National Trust, and everybody else, the involvement of everybody else into that land when it is private ownership?
Peter explained that, Champion. That is the modus operandi of the party to talk rubbish and repeat it over and over with the hope that it will stick. But we here, thank God for you, Champion, and the others, Norbert, and others, who consistently debunk that stupidity. They know very well, Champion. But these guys have no idea. Champion, let me just say something to you. Regardless how the old Dyer Mall came into being, it has been there for 14, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Governments have come, governments have gone. The current Prime Minister, in his good sense, sourced out the right person to make it attractive. And that is the whole idea of our business. You have to have
It's
a person,
management.
yeah, with a mentality, a drive to do these things, The Prime Minister is relentless in what he's doing for St. Lucia. And I want St. Lucians to understand. I'm not looking to praise the Prime Minister for being my son. I know the nature of the guy,
Yeah.
The guy is relentless. He has an extraordinary amount of energy. I'm telling you so.
Yes.
He will move and move, and he is persistent.
Yes.
Plus, he didn't want you to help him.
Yeah. So, you know something? There we go now. The building sat there for 14 years, It's a building that didn't have much of a selling factor other than its location, But over the brought individuals here to check the strength of the building. Tremendous entrepreneur from Trinidad with an excellent background to come in, and I'm not going to repeat what
Yesterday,
he
he
said it
explained it.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So St. Lucians can understand. But just for a matter of repetition for those who didn't hear him yesterday, the ground floor of the building will be leased out to the individual who is going to be pioneering the project.
Yeah.
And upstairs, there'll be government offices.
Government offices.
And again, what has the government done? They have been able to source one of the biggest call center companies in the world.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That means hundreds more St. Lucians will be employed there in that. So a building that sat doing absolutely nothing
For 14
is going
years.
to be totally transformed. In addition to that, what has he done? He has spoken to the judiciary, and so far they have agreed on the location, suits them perfectly because it's a big wide front with lots of parking. and the side building, what they're going to do with it, and possibly, just imagine Champagne, 2 years from now, when you drive by, the change in that landscape.
It's going to be beautiful up there.
The total change in that landscape.
Yeah, definitely.
All right? So enough said about that building, and I hope St. Lucians understand what is going on.
But
Now,
even, Sir Michael, the boarding up of the place next to the road, even that,
just that has a huge difference.
Has made the place different.
Both yourself and Champagne spoke about the
Oh my goodness.
Now,
because we're on that road every day.
Why are we on that? Let me jump to another point. How many St. Lucians, I'm sure 90% of St. Lucians have passed and have not recognized what is being done again Champagne. The opposition keeps talking about this is a government that does not care. They sat in government for 15, 20 years. What have they done for the small man? What have we seen? A proliferation of people on the street with a piece of tarpaulin.
Yes.
Nobody has ever, and this is what the mayor told IPA the other day. I don't want to get involved in the argument. Said to him, look at me, you've been there for 15 years. What have you done to upgrade your people?
Upgrade your people,
What has the Prime Minister done? He has taken our tax money and enhanced the market. And nobody can question what the guy has did there.
So, Michael, you brought up a very interesting point. The vendors out there next to the Diamond Mall.
Yes.
They were there, they were to speak. Because no one was paying any rent. I mean, the caring Prime Minister. What did he do? He didn't chase anybody out and say, find yourself somewhere to stay. He found a location to have everyone, to house them. A beautiful location up there next to the grocery fire department.
People, he said?
I think he said about 50, 60 people, I think. Okay. Lots. With toilet facilities, with a place where you could sit, where you could have a show. Up there.
A place that you can go to the bank and borrow money. Like dedicated
exactly.
location.
Okay.
I passed there. As a matter of fact, halfway through my show, when I exhibit my photographs, I've taken a number of photographs of the area. And my next is that next week I'm having a meeting with the people there when they are have moved in there to hear their views on the whole situation.
And I hope they put some nice lights,
It's going to be beautiful.
Different colored lights.
It's going to be beautiful.
Not only that, Peter, they have actually put another shed in the center.
Yes,
for people, if you want to go and have
a meal,
just sit there, read your newspaper. And here's the thing, but listed or whatever. And don't even care about the people that sold there. So these people now would have to find areas to do their sales. Correct. He did not do that. He found them a home.
That's right.
But listen,
every single one of them, he found them a home.
But the Labour Party is not interested in that.
They're not going to be.
They have to keep saying the government doesn't care. Alan Chastanet doesn't care.
With no proof.
With no proof.
Exactly.
But guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? I am here to give you the background and to explain the history.
That's right.
The same guy they eventually called the Great Satan, which is Brother George Odlum. One night on the Castries Market steps, George Odlum said to the Labour Party listeners, including Philip Pierre, that two women were quarreling by a standpipe. One had a daughter with her. And the daughter said to her mother, Mama, call her a prostitute before she calls you.
Yeah.
And you know something? That is the foundation of the Labour Party rebuttal.
Right.
Call Alan Chastanet names because Alan Chastanet might say something and they will not be able to rebut.
Yeah.
In other words, make Alan Chastanet look bad. Like Hitler. Hitler used to say the one that sends the most dust is the one that's going to the most mud. If you start sending mud, some of it will stick on your opponent. And that opponent has done nothing to deserve it. But you, in your evil mind, have designed that you must throw mud. And that's exactly how the Labour Party is behaving, Champion.
Now, the Prime Minister has not stopped there, okay? So that's one aspect where he's addressed the people to give them a home. And as a result, what I heard him say yesterday on your show, for those who didn't hear it, that this has turned out so well, he's now branded a name called T-Village.
T-Village, that's right.
And it has given them a new idea to put one in each constituency.
That is right, yes. When I heard that, I was very happy to hear that.
Every town has an
so
area,
who is teaching your son all this
where people congregate. Sorry?
Who is teaching Alan all this Creole?
I think you are.
So Michael,
and you know something, and which is an excellent idea, because what you will find, and I think he will have to find an area in the Castries area, and I think one of the areas would be great for that, is down in Banan.
Banan would be nice.
Where you build up something nicely instead of having the guys with those old shacks and old piece of plywood and things.
Yeah. Well, you heard what he said about Banans, the
Yes, I heard what he
transformation
said.
there.
Yes.
Yeah, where they're going to have the same
Correct.
people from the area
And
make this place.
I suppose this was also in the making, but he had a lot on his plate, and that idea has come up nicely, whereby that they can have a decent place, just similar to what was done by the BG Airport.
That's right.
Yeah.
And putting it close to the seashore would be
Yeah.
even nicer.
But you know,
Yeah.
by the same token, I say over and over, and I knock every government for the last 3 administrations who have not seen it fitting to ask the owners of those old derelict boats to take those things out of the harbor immediately.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is
Let me
really,
tell you
really-
something. You cannot have that,
So
Champagne.
nice, so it
I
really
told
looks
them
bad.
I've taken pictures of St. Martin, Antigua, Aruba, Curacao, and I will air those photographs again of the ports when you get in. You do not have that garbage in the port.
Yeah.
There is no necessity for that.
Yeah.
The government, every government is to be blamed for not taking the drastic action. And I'm calling on SLASFA and the Attorney General to take the appropriate
That's
action
right.
to get these boats out.
Yeah, what could be done to
Because-
them? Take them out and sink them?
Sink them as a reef outside.
As a reef.
You know, you had an old tug that sank in the harbor. What the hell are you putting this thing in the harbor?
You know-
Take that damn thing outside and throw it away.
That's right, I agree.
What you keeping this
I
garbage
agree,
here for?
yeah. It's
Stupidity. Old rust buckets.
Yes.
In a small, beautiful, picturesque harbor.
And there are about 3 or 4, you know,
Yes,
more.
unacceptable.
But that is what is keeping back our country, the inaction of
Yes.
people who are there and are being paid to take action.
Yes.
Let me
You
tell
know,
you
we are too
something, Champagne.
timid and cowardly. That is our problem. There's no leadership. We need people that are strong and who can carry out the actions that are supposed to be carried out.
Let me tell you something. 40 years ago, when I was in the shipping business, my partner from New York, where I was housed for 12 years, they had about 4 ships. One ship got damaged, the rudder and the ship was in excellent condition. And they brought the ship to St. Lucia and awaiting the decision of the insurance company. When the insurance company looked at what it's going to cost them to repair the ship, they said it's better to pay them the cost of the ship and then do what they want with it. The ship stayed at Point Seven for several months. And I told the owners in New York, you know, this is unacceptable. You cannot leave a ship, a 3,000-ton ship, on the docks here doing nothing. And finally, they gave permission to go and say, look at me, we're giving you permission to sink the ship.
Really?
Yes. And what did I do? I called SLASFA, I called the Port Authority, and they all agreed, and they found a home for the ship as a reef. And we took that ship outside Molashik Lighthouse and sank that ship there.
Oh, wow.
A 3,000, in far better condition than what's here.
These days.
So I don't know what the hell they're keeping those things for.
Yeah,
It is time they put their foot down and get these things out. The same thing with old cars parked around people's homes all around Castries, on a narrow street where you can barely pass. There's some cars that they've been 15 years with trees growing on it,
That is true.
on a road.
I've
This
seen
is
them.
unacceptable.
Yeah, yeah.
It is unacceptable. Anyway, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
move along.
But if you can see that, Sir Michael, and I don't mean no disrespect, you think the people who are really
You
concerned
know
can
what
see it?
I've done? I've taken about 10 to 12 pictures of some that are really bad, and I intend to send it to the Commissioner of Police so he can send his people to check it out himself.
Like you're talking about the
let's
cars
move on,
or
because
the
our
boats?
time goes very
The cars,
quickly.
the cars.
I need now to highlight to St. Lucians again about a caring government. Marquis Estate was one of the most productive estates, and Peter should know that. He's an agriculturist for years, producing bananas under people like Harry Atkinson,
I
and these
remember,
various
yeah.
people. Okay. Unfortunately, as time went along, these people passed away, and various people had ideas of converting it into a hotel area, whatever it is, which never happened. And as usual, a group of shysters from the United Kingdom who've been fooling people around the Caribbean seem to have bought the land, and the nonsense has happened. But government has taken the same way with the Dyer Mall, where this government has taken the action to do something. They have now done something with Marquis Estate. Now, if you have 500-600 acres of land there, Champagne, and let us say you even give farmers 5 acres, Divide 500 into 5. Look at how many acres of land how many individuals who will have a home, because it is good soil. And that is why government had the foresight to fix the roads to the area there.
I've been there.
I went up there, I saw what has been done. So it now makes these people, it makes them very attractive. They can get to the market in no time. So that is the next thing that's going to take place, and solutions have to be geared for that.
Yeah.
The other thing which has happened, although no firm agreement has been signed, but a tentative arrangement has been arrived at with a foreign company to put in the road from Dennery to up north.
To
which is
Bossy
Using the
Bossy
using the East Coast.
Yeah, correct. Now again, you imagine what's going to, you know how much land that's going to open
Oh,
up?
yeah.
Because St. Lucia is 233 square miles.
38, that's what they
You know how
said.
many acres of land are sitting on that side of the
There's a lot of land up there.
that people cannot get to.
There's a lot of land up there.
Okay, now again, I have to go back to the Labour Party. Dr. Anthony, in all fairness to him, he did see the opening and he wanted to use the £10 million which the government gave him to do that road.
Which government?
The
English
British
government.
government
Okay.
gave £10 million for some, what you call, development. And that money was given 10 years ago. The money has been sitting there doing nothing.
The
For
money
more
is
than 10
there?
years. Yes, the money has been sitting there, right? And he was told, and he himself told the British government that that would not even do 1/10 of the road, because it's a long, expansive road. But again, the lack of foresight to say you cannot leave the money there doing nothing.
But why not start it, Sir Michael? I'm saying, why not start it? If you have £10 million, I mean, why didn't he just at least get it started?
In all fairness, I think Dr. Anthony was right in not starting the road. Because what is the point of starting something you couldn't finish? Use the money for something that it would finish. And this is what this government did. It was a long, tedious bit of negotiation, but it worked out, where they were able to go back to the British government, explain the whole situation to them, and say, look at me, we have a Millennium Highway, which was badly paved, it's dangerous, it's already there, it is something that really opened up the country. You also have places like Anstey Canneries, which they are developing as tourist attractions, but the road, although picturesque, needs a lot of repair. Let us fast track. Based on that presentation, the British government agreed. It took a long time because it had to go through many layers, but it was done. And in 10 days' time, finally, the work is starting. C.O. Williams got the contract. It's in 3 phases. The first phase is from Banan to Colisac. The second phase is from Colisac to Ancillary, then Ancillary to Canneries, and Canneries to Sufra.
Okay.
So that is where we are, and that for sure, it is starting in 10 days.
Oh, wow, we need to ring the bell on that.
Let me just
Wait a while. But also, what is also starting in 10 days' time is the Dyer Mall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is starting. Sorry, Peter, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to go
Sure.
back to Marquis Estate for a little bit.
Yes.
And that is that the Prime Minister and his government, they have a good example before them to have acquired Marquis Estate. Because in my time as Minister of Agriculture with Alan Louisi government 79 to 82, with all the problems we had, we were able to acquire the Roseau Valley from Gis Estates, from Gis West Indies Limited. And you know what? When Gis had the whole of the 500 to 600 acres at Roseau Valley, they used to make at least 8.5 tons per acre produce, 8.5 tons. And we knew that if we divided that land, if the government acquired it and divided it up into 10-acre lots, the farmers would do a better, would be more productive.
Because they owned it.
Yeah. You know what? The farmers ended up in Roseau producing 25 to 30 tons per acre, whereas the big Gis company was doing 8.5 tons to
Because they're
9,
working for somebody. You see.
9 tons maximum.
Yeah.
So this is a very good example. And if the same idea is to be followed, and bona fide farmers, people who know what they're doing, offered this land in 10-acre lots, that will change the face of Mackay Estate and the Northeast. As a matter of fact, I think this government now should go one step further to encourage farmers in a diversification program. If you give them 10 acres, they must agree that at least 1 acre or 2 should be in a crop other than bananas.
Okay.
You understand? And I think that would be the best idea to go forward.
Now, what I saw up there with the accessibility of the roads, which is great, there's a lot of different crops up there, not just bananas. There's cabbage, there's tomatoes, there's lettuce.
That is to be
encouraged. There's a lot of things up there. Yeah.
People up north have a small market in the Rodney Bay Marina. And I know at least 10 families, well-to-do families, that go there on a regular basis, pay some very high prices because they're selling organic stuff.
Right, exactly.
So there are some good people in St. Lucia.
Exactly.
And I was so pleased because didn't know the Deramo area at all.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And until one of the ladies told me, that is before they fixed the bridge, could you not ask the government to help this lady because we have to cross that bridge and it's so dangerous. That's why I went up there afterwards and took pictures to show St. Lucia, but still I'm sure 95% in St. Lucia don't know where they are.
Oh, for sure.
They
That
hear
is
the
for
name,
sure.
you know?
Yeah, that is for
So
sure.
I just want to make a slight statement that has nothing to do with our discussion, not directly.
Sure.
And I want to apologize and to explain to my family, my sisters and everybody else, that we have all been sanitized properly. We have sufficient social distance between us.
Yeah.
So we are taking a chance not to wear the mask because we are also have, all of us, each of us,
We have to be careful.
have taken. But
They came down on me really, really hard when I made the statement about the second jab. So.
Yeah.
but we still have to be careful.
Yes, we do.
And you know, we
Yeah.
continue to pray, keep our distances, sanitize.
Yeah.
But we just
Another
put down the
area
mask.
which I want to focus on.
So you're going to go to your preamble now?
No,
Not yet?
I,
Okay.
I'll come to my preamble in a while. But I want to highlight something to St. Lucia. When they talk of the loans and the loans,
Yeah.
what they have not realized, though 4.5% and 5% to an investor may not sound like a lot of money, but when government has millions of dollars of loans, every half a point means a lot. Now, because of COVID and because of his traveling abroad and meeting those various international players, he's been able to get these loans. Imagine that, at half of 1%, Champagne, at half of 1%. So when he takes that half of loans at that rate and pay off a loan at 4 and 5%, you know what that really means? Yeah. So these are the areas we need to focus on. These are the areas we need to focus on. Let us just take a short break while our technician adjusts this television program. Can you just bear with us 1 second, please?
Okay, so he's saying that we on screen. It's just our screen here that went off for a slight moment. But we on screen,
Yeah. So again, I want to highlight what the Prime Minister, there's method in his madness, in that what he's done, it saves the country thousands of dollars in interest charges.
Now, you know the spinners out there, when you made the term, there's method in his madness, you know how they're going to spin that.
You're going to say he
You
mad.
know how they're going to spin
Okay,
that.
very
Eh?
good.
So we have.
I take that back. This is just an idea.
Yeah, just a figure of
It's just a
speech.
stay,
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
figure of
it's
speech.
just an idiom, okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, so that is as far as the, and now I will just deal with my preamble,
Yes.
which is actually quite short today.
Okay, great.
Quite short, okay?
Yeah.
I watched the March 17th debate in Parliament in awe, while the opposition attempted to understand why the current Prime Minister proceeded to explain the nation's finances. It is all well and good to oppose, but when it comes to finances, there is only so much one can do to address the situation. The world, and by extension St. Lucia, have entered the worst financial crisis for over 100 years. But above and beyond the financial fallout, most nations were forced to borrow to remain afloat and address the billions required to support their medical issues. Every nation today has witnessed the contraction of their economies and not knowing when their 2019 status will be regained. The vaccine has finally arrived, and the number of COVID-related cases have been on the decline, where investors have started unfolding their plans. Between June 2021 and August 2021, that is this year, St. Lucia will witness a dramatic change in visitor arrivals, including the resurgence of the cruise industry. The biggest gains in St. Lucia during this crisis has been the hardware industry, where sales have gone through the roof. But unfortunately, the cost of materials has also skyrocketed. A brief research on the reasons for this increase has been twofold. First, affluent individuals who were able to spend thousands of dollars on travel and on leisure time use those funds to enhance their homes, make extensions, and some have actually built new homes. Secondly, as a result of the continuous lockdowns, transportation was reduced dramatically, and millions of containers which should have been returned to the major manufacturing countries like China, the US, South and Central America, and Europe were unable to receive those containers awaiting shipment. This scenario will take some months before it is cleared, and unfortunately, this has created a supply and demand situation which has seen an overall cost of some 40%, and this has also affected the food supply around the world. Ask anyone in St. Lucia and you will understand how the costs have escalated as far as hardware is concerned. It is all common knowledge that after the persistent attacks on the current administration and Cabot in respect to the US $10 million loan, Cabot has taken the initiative to repay the full amount plus interest and arrange a new bank loan at half the original amount. To the best of our knowledge, the annual interest paid by Cabot, listen to that carefully, to the best of our knowledge, the annual interest rate paid by Cabot was $600,000 US, and Cabot now enjoys a loan arrangement of US $250,000 from another institution. In essence, NIC has lost a guaranteed revenue stream of US $600,000 annually as a result of all the antagonism. Cabot is now the winner of a situation which should have never occurred, as this only creates a level of unnecessary antagonism on a five-star foreign investor. The ongoing concern in St. Lucia is the indiscriminate attacks on our own people. By this we mean the senseless shooting of one another is totally unacceptable, and we as a nation need to assist each other in discovering the rationale for such behavior. As a layman, my first reaction would be to focus on the number of guns, both on island and those still entering the state. Once these guns are available, it is so easy to settle our differences with a firearm rather than having a discussion. We can meet we can have our grievances at a civilized manner. Word on the ground is that there are individuals who hire guns at $150 for a 24-hour period when persons are in a heated conversation with someone. If that is so, the individuals following this practice must understand that there are other areas to earn a living other than this brutal behavior. For whatever it means, we now appeal to those listening to this program that it's never too late, as it is never too late to change one's behavior. These new philosophies automatically places the Commissioner of Police and his crew at a disadvantage, as those incidents usually occur in a short time frame before authorities can have any idea of what is taking place. We are not animals. We're supposed to be living a civilized world, and that is not what civilized people do. Finally, we must take the time to address the senseless speeding on our roads and the careless motorcyclists who continue making a mockery of their requirements on the roads. How can it be possible that on a small island like St. Lucia, that between Friday and a Sunday each week, there can be 250 ambulance calls? This is crazy and unacceptable, as the stress placed on the Ministry of Health is just not acceptable. Champagne, this is my preamble, and we will
well written, well read,
as we go along.
Well
you know, so basically, what I'm saying today is that by all the unnecessary antagonism towards Cabot, look at what has happened today. That NIC has now lost a beautiful revenue stream of $600,000 US. And let us
is that
assume,
all it is?
Yeah,
that's all it's going to be?
Let us assume, Champagne.
Annually.
Sorry?
Oh, you said annually 600,000?
Yeah, $600,000 annually. And let us say the loan was probably for 10 years. Multiply that by 6, okay?
You're talking $6 million.
$6 million, which US, okay, which, as you said earlier, could have been filtered down to put back whatever monies were paid out.
That's right, during the COVID times.
The COVID season.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the Labour Party doesn't care about that. They just want to put their agenda out there, the wicked agenda, and they don't care who pays the penalty. Yeah. Over to you, Mr. Josie, for your preamble.
Yeah, I think we can continue with the matters that Sir Michael raised. I have two other items, I believe, that needs to be aired, and that is that in the budget address, I believe for the first time that the Prime Minister really overdid himself. He performed to the point where I have not seen Sir John Compton at his best, Alan Weezy in his short stay, or the former Prime Minister, Dr. Anthony, rise to the level of discussion and understanding and fluency that this Prime Minister, Alan Chastanet, exhibited in the budget address. And I believe the end result of the Prime Minister's performance in this last address was to just mess up the minds of all the politicians that are outside hoping to come in, those that are in the House. And you know the nice thing about it? Every member on the government side of the Parliament supported the Prime Minister, backed him up. And of course, Guy Joseph has been excellent on placing his finger on the politics where it really belongs. And I believe that Guy Joseph was fingered as a dangerous guy for a long time. You know why? Guy Joseph, like me and like one or two others, was a supporter of the Labour Party. We heard what was going on inside there. We are not children, we saw it. And when we were fed up of what was going on there, we were able, by the grace of God, to leave that party and join something that is more uplifting, more humane, and more beneficial to the people of St. Lucia. Guy is in a special little league by himself, and I can understand why they try to destroy him.
Oh, yeah.
Up to now, like Trump, if they have an opportunity, they will call Guy all kind of names. But you know something? I believe politics can be a dirty game. I also believe there's a time when, for the benefit of the people, the government, any government, has to take some strong action. And my only disappointment in the government and in the Prime Minister is that they have not taken the kind of action that needed to be taken. The money that was wasted and spent in St. Jude with all kind of corruption was obvious on some of the videos we saw. You know, the monies that were spent investigating Guy Joseph. Mm-hmm. And even what we were discussing about earlier when you asked who is Fenwell or what was Fenwell. Mm-hmm. These are answers, Champagne, that should be coming from the lips of the former Prime Minister and the former government. St. Lucians should not be speculating who Fenwell is or was. They should not be speculating what the result of the $3 million they spent investigating Guy Joseph, what was the result of this? All the dirty, nasty work, and I say the word nasty deliberately because we saw it. They just poured concrete and covered up the nastiness down there, the former contractors. We have not had a reply for that. Nobody has paid. And that has been a concern of mine. I am not saying, please don't get me wrong, that we should put this ahead of developing the country. But as the Americans like to say, we must be able to chew gum and walk at the same time. Mm-hmm. You must be able to govern, give directives, and at the same time have your AG or a special prosecutor that you import and pay to find out and to give St. Lucians answers to where their monies came from. And that is my position, and I'm not changing. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to say, and it is a matter that concerns all of us, crime. The Labour Party always speaks about crime, 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 crime. Have you ever heard either the leader of the opposition or any of the senior members of the Labour Party, whether in Parliament or out of Parliament, have you ever heard them appeal to the young people, the criminals, those have a criminal bent? The latest we know of the appeal was years and years ago when a certain Prime Minister at the time, Labour leader, asked the people to give the criminals, ask the criminals to give the people a chance.
For Christmas.
Can you believe that? That is an appeal you make as leader?
Yeah, for Christmas.
And I'll tell you, Champagne, I'll tell you something. We St. Lucians are pretending that we don't know what is going on in the world. Mm-hmm. We are pretending. We have our heads buried in the sand. And it's safe for us not to open our mouths. In our own country, we are afraid to open our mouths. But the people who do that, they are all hypocrites. Yeah. And they know that. It is time for the average man and woman to open his and her voice even more in terms of fighting crime, what they can do about the police. Little constituency groups should be forming all over the island to resist and fight crime. That is one of the solutions I'm suggesting. Starting from Grosile right down to Beaufort, well-meaning young people, young men, young women, middle-aged, old people, come together quietly and say, listen, we are prepared to look out for the police, give the police information, and actually form a kind of vanguard, to keep eyes and ears open and feed the police without the criminals knowing that you all are doing it. We need to do that in our country as a first step. And the police must know that the majority of St. Lucians are well-meaning, law-abiding citizens. The only time people hear my voice is when it has a political matter to discuss. I'm not a violent person. I've never been arrested for anything. I tried my best to keep within my bounds. Even when I speak on a political platform or on this radio station, I speak with energy, I speak with passion, because that is how I am. That is the person I am, and I cannot change. Everybody cannot be a Peter Josie. So when it comes to my country, and I've said so a million times, nobody loves St. Lucia better than me. It has never occurred to me to leave my country, even as a young person, to go anywhere else. If I had a choice, the only place I think civilized enough for me would have been Canada. But that is past. I'm too old now. Well, I'm not too old, but I'm not going anywhere. Okay? I'm not living anywhere. So when St. Lucia is sweet, it is sweet for all of us. When there's no crime, all of us are safer. Because a guy can fire a bullet after somebody, and you as a passerby driving by, the bullet can miss its target and hit you.
It does happen.
So all of us are in a kind of bouillon that is not good.
All of us.
So we now, as people, have to rise. And those who call themselves leaders, those who want to go up for elections, must bring people together in their respective communities, whether they support the UWP or the Labour Party or independent, that is immaterial. The people must come together and say, listen, in what way can we support the police? In what way can we give the police thing? In what way can we patrol? I don't mean patrol like foot, like soldiers, but in what way can we observe what is going on in the country and report, and who can report it to, and do we trust the police that are near to us sufficiently? I hope so, I hope so, I hope so.
You see, what you just said there a while ago, you made a very good point about the Labour Party, and you compare them with the Trump situation. In the US today, the 70 million people who supported Mr. Trump, he's sort of encouraging them not to take the vaccine. Now, right here in St. Lucia, I sent you a note yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it.
I'm not going to call the name now, but a well-known hotelier appealed to his staff,
Yeah.
please take the vaccine.
Yeah.
I
gonna
have
play that,
met certain members of the hotel workers on the beach, and they listen sometimes to what is going on, where they say they're not going to take the vaccine. But don't they realize that they're mixing with the foreigners? They are frontline people, and they need to take that vaccine.
That's true.
Okay? Now, again, let us go one step further. You just saw what happened, where 15,000 hotel workers had to be laid off because of the pandemic. Okay? Now they've got a vaccine. That is your line of business. By taking the vaccine, it means you're bringing back your economy. Yeah.
And you're protecting your health,
You're
your
protecting
life.
yourself and the economy. Because when you get a job, you can spend the money and your island will go. But again, sometimes I don't want to, what I'm going to say now, I'm saying it reluctantly, but I'm afraid I have to say it. Because the opposition, in an effort to bring the government down, will encourage people not to take the vaccine so that the economy will not get back to its normal. But they have a rude awakening, because I'm telling you, Champagne, I'm not what you call a gare, but come July, St. Lucia will see a new change.
Yeah, I believe that.
I'm telling you so. I'm telling you so, okay? We just had to be prepared and be careful, get vaccinated, and get ready to get back to work.
Yeah. Brother Peter, you said something in your preamble when you made the statement of the Dr. Anthony not making an appeal to not even the people in his constituency.
Not only him.
Well, most of them. But here's where he went further. And you probably saw his contribution at the House. Apart from not making an appeal, he made a comparison from when he was there as opposed to now. And I know he was going directly to the candidate, Brother Herman Gill, that is challenging him down there. So he gave you year by year how many homicides. I mean, a leader, as opposed to him coming out and get a great opportunity in the House of Parliament to appeal to the young people that are getting involved in this violence and say, you guys should really stop this thing, it is not good. And in particularly his constituency in the Shantytown area and other places, he would not go out there and make an appeal to the young people or the people who were involved in crime. Then he would go and categorize year by year how many people died under his watch and how many people had died. Can you believe it?
But you know, when he came to campaign in '97, I think this guy's game was below the belt. And I knew this guy could never be of use to Vieux-Fort. I told Vieux-Fortans that the campaign was give Vieux-Fort a prime minister.
Yes.
And I was at pains to say, no, you can give Vieux-Fort a representative first as MP. You know, if he becomes a prime minister, he should be an asset to Vieux-Fort. But guess what? I know human nature sufficiently. I've read and observed sufficiently to know, to tell you, that this guy will be of no use to Vieux-Fort. He is a person, you know the Patrick phrase, il aime la besoin tout fait.
Too bad, yeah.
There are people who don't want to plant food.
Yeah.
They don't want to go and harvest. They don't want to prepare it, skin it, and put it on the pot.
Just
but
eat.
once it is cooked,
Yes.
they are there.
Yeah.
c'est comme ça, monsieur. La besoin,
But
tout fait.
you
Yeah,
see the
yeah.
point you made there, and I think Herman Gill's brother,
Yes,
Peterson
the
Francis,
mayor, yes,
said
made
it
an
well.
excellent
He said,
statement last night.
look at the number of voters in his
Own constituency.
That is what he should
Never
be dealing
address
with,
that.
not publicizing what is going on.
Yeah.
Because if you can reduce the amount in the Bruceville and that
In the-
area
exactly.
there, it's a lot of, if you take that annually.
Yeah.
And
Never
get
made
the
an appeal
percentage.
to his own constituency.
Correct.
But he's going to categorize,
Yeah.
itemize year by year
Yeah.
what happened under his watch, what happens now. And we know all why that is, because
Precisely, yeah.
Herman Gill Francis is challenging him and will beat him down there. I know that for a
I
fact.
just hope Hermangle Francis brings all of his experiences together based on the number of meetings he listened to on the market steps.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he remembered we used to call the market steps the University of the People. Because at that time, we didn't tell people this one, that, and that. We used to give Compton 1 or 2 digs. But the important thing was to raise the people's consciousness, make them believe in themselves. As a matter of fact, one day in a meeting, George Odlum said to them, like Jesus Christ had said, take up your beds and walk. And we were never in support of young guys smoking marijuana and things. So one person says on the platform, and George almost died in a campaign. That is not the country you want to develop. If the ganja has medicinal properties, you go and discover what these medicinal properties are, and let us try to use it for humanity, for the betterment of the people of St. Lucia.
Yeah.
But smoking cigarettes or any kind of things, your lungs, our lungs, were not made for that. So we should not encourage people to smoke any kind of cigarette or anything that will affect your health.
I agree.
And that you have to be strong enough as a leader, as a person contesting elections. You have to be able to tell people, listen, I don't support that. And I believe people will respect you more, Champagne, if you speak the truth to them and tell them, listen, as much as I want your vote, I am not prepared to stoop level just to get a vote from you. I remember once on the Castries market steps, I told the people, if you don't want to vote for me, you know where to put your vote. I think I told them, put it where the sun doesn't shine, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, so Michael, we have not discussed the Cabot issue, so we'll be going to the phone lines in a little bit. But I want to ask you something
Sure.
from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
What do you think would cause the Cabot people, and I know their reputation and everything else, what do you think would cause them to pay off that loan in such a short space of time?
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that, Champagne. I listened to Norbert this morning, and I found one of the reasons that may have precipitated that. For instance, civilized countries respect the deceased very well. And when they talk about the Amerindians or somebody that was buried there years ago,
Oh, yeah.
and that hit, and they were clever enough, the National Trust.
Yeah, I think they brought down some archaeologists
to
down there.
publicize that
Yeah.
nonsense up in Canada. That was not a good sign. Okay.
My goodness.
So between that and of course the constant battering of people's reputation, including Honorable Richard Frederick, who talked about
Is Honorable
being a leech, a leech.
You call Richard Frederick honorable?
You read between the lines.
So, Michael, you have to watch your words more carefully.
And talk about a leech.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. And that they should give him, people like him could have taken 10 guys to go and do the job. What could Richard Frederick do up there? Is he going to do a project like that?
Bluff.
To do what?
Bluff.
Take the NIC money?
You see, there's another thing a lot of St. Lucians have not understood. The property did not 10 million US. This was what was borrowed. The property cost much more money than that.
Yeah.
Right? The Cabot people put their amount of monies,
Right.
and they borrowed because the Prime
Part
Minister said
of
it's
it,
a part of the monies to purchase the property.
Correct.
So St. Lucians are of the view that
Because they don't know that. They think it's just
they
$10
think
million.
it's just 10 million, so they're saying, I've heard it, oh, we could have given that to a St. Lucian, NIC could have borrowed that to a St. Lucian. No, St. Lucia, the property did not just cost 10 million.
Because if the truth does not fit your agenda, and your agenda is crooked, you'll always want a crooked thing to fit your agenda.
Yeah. So as a result, and you did a little math earlier, $600,000 annually. Let's assume the loan was for 10 years. You're talking $6 million.
That's
and
right.
the NIC has lost that money.
And you
the
must say-
members
you
of the
must
NIC
also
has
say
lost that money as well.
6 million US.
Exactly.
Be very careful
That
when
is
you
true.
say that.
And
eh?
that would
6
amount
million US.
to about 16 million EC, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
up to behind Marjorie and all
Yes,
this nonsense. And how many of them have been back there since then?
They don't even know someone to call
And
man.
what you have to do when you're analyzing a Champagne is to continue the analysis to say, listen, that money that the NIC lost because Cabot paid so early, amounting to the money that the government had the NIC in its good heart to give to people when there was a lockdown,
Yes, sir.
even people who had never to the NIC.
It's true.
When we're saying that we must raise our voices,
And
nous qui pas jamais payer rien.
And
Gouvernement fait NIC by l'argent.
Labour Party supporters were involved too, huh? Trust me on
Let
that.
me tell you something. When we're talking about people and we're serious, we don't discriminate who is labor, who is
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
Because, as I told you once, and I repeat it to you, when you see people with their red shirts, look at how many people who are, we're talking about people who need the NIC through the government's instrumentality, helped people to the tune of $18 million. That money was supposed to be returned so that those who are paying NIC will have money there for comes. That is what, that is the money going to come from now, from Philip Pierre's pocket,
Yeah,
from the
wow.
Labour Party. They're going to raise funds and give the NIC money.
Yeah.
These fellas will abuse the NIC as they did with,
Oh, yeah.
with how they call it,
Champagne, that's
Blue Coral.
Yeah. At one point, I actually heard a hotel worker, I think she said she used to work at the Sandals, and she came out and said she knew
Nothing
about
about
business.
golf.
What they don't understand, Champagne, golf courses and marinas depend on the reasons why the Rodney Bay Marina ended up disposing of the land that they had to the new gentleman who is coming in to do the Dyer Mall.
Right.
Because he has the cash to do it. And what he's going to do there, he's going to build villas, he's going to build a supermarket, he's going to build a small cinema, and, you know, and he knows what he has to do because he's done it before in Trinidad, but he has the capital to do it. And that's what St. Lucians have to understand. We here in St. Lucia, in my little way, there's certain things I can do, and there's certain things I cannot do.
Exactly.
Okay?
Now the Cabot property is just the property by itself. That costs some money. But we have not even spoken about the facility itself, the golf course, let alone the hotels.
Yeah.
Or the resorts that's going to be put in there. You're talking another $100, $200 million.
But
Let me tell you
You
something.
know?
Over 50 lots have already been sold
Right.
to wealthy people. It's that money coming and the deposit can take to build. And why are they coming? Because Cabot has a name.
That's right.
Yeah.
They have been able to do. Same thing today. You are being praised for what you do, and you do a damn good job where you are.
Thank you.
He's an agriculturist. I'm a business person in my little way. I can do little things in St. Lucia, build a little shopping mall or different things, which may look great to St. Lucia, but that's small when it comes to international business. When you're talking of people like Sandals, people like Cabot, that's a different kettle of fish.
That's right.
I can tell you for a fact, Champagne, many people will walk around and just glance ahead. This job that Sandals started, and he got permission to do it, but you know, the powers that be,
Yeah.
who didn't want it to happen. I'm telling you,
frustrate
between
the government and people.
between the cost of the land, the architectural fees and whatever, has already spent $80 million US.
Wow.
Now that money is dead. How many of us can afford $80 million to
no,
put aside,
no.
right?
And-
So, but let's stay on Cabot. Let me say
And that's
something
my
to you,
point.
so Michael.
Sorry?
Let me just say something on Cabot to you. One of the side effects of having an investor like Cabot is the names of the people who will play golf that this Cabot is going to attract to St. Lucia. And the reason it is important is because when these multimillionaires get to St. Lucia, they fall in love with St. Lucia, they fall in love with the people.
They do other things.
That is where the spin-off begins.
That's
Correct.
right.
They want to buy a property.
That's right.
They want to put St. Lucians in charge. They're going to get, there's a guy coming from Daniel Riviere every morning, working in the north. I don't want to say too much, but he's working for somebody who owns a major property, and he's in charge of all the gardens and all the fellas things. Now that is a guy who used to plant bananas. Bananas not making the money that he expected, and he has that job so far away. Every morning he drives to work. You understand? How many more people are like that or can be like that when the investors start coming in? When this girl who is very famous Barbadian singer, what's her name? Fair-skinned girl.
Heinz?
Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Rihanna.
yeah.
She came to Barbados. She has been interviewed by Oprah Winfrey. What do you think that does to the name of Barbados?
Oh, yeah, sure.
When I was a younger fella, I was a minister. I went to the UK a couple times. We used to fly on BW from London Heathrow to Antigua and then Antigua St. Lucia. When the aircraft landed in Antigua Champagne, you should have seen the cleaners who were running up the aircraft, coming and searching. You know what they're looking for? The British newspapers to see Richards, how many runs he had scored, you know, and the cricketer thing, because Richards was the greatest name that was selling Antigua in those days.
That's right.
That was not the tourist board or the prime minister.
That's right.
The name Vivian Richards. You understand? And these people in politics in St. Lucia should understand that. And I suspect, in fact, I'm almost certain they know. But as some of your callers and some of Norbert's callers were saying, these guys don't seem to want St. Lucia to prosper.
No.
For the simple reason that if we don't make progress, somehow they're going to convince people that they must not support Alan Chastanet in the next government.
Look at how...
You made a point a while ago about the importance of a golf course.
Yeah.
Look at a black guy in America, Tiger Woods, who just had that accident.
Yeah.
Look at the publicity he got.
Yeah.
I mean, for days on CNN, show you bringing the guy. Why? Just imagine, and Tiger Woods...
You have a fellow like Tiger Woods
who would come to St. Lucia.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you come to St. Lucia.
But look at how they destroy Marjorie, this poor lady.
Sorry?
They destroy Marjorie with all of that demonstration on the beach and everything.
Yeah.
And we had a talk there, and the lady was offered money, but there's someone that prevented her from accepting that money.
Yeah.
Her property, her business would be incorporated into the Cabot's development. That is what was said to us. They would.
But I hear they made a deal with her. Eh?
They did now?
I hear so.
Well, I'm happy for that.
I think so.
I'm happy to hear that.
Subject to correction.
I'm happy to hear that.
Some of them might have been jealous of Marjorie, you know. They wish they were in Marjorie's
I'm
place.
happy to hear that now. Before we open up the line,
Sure.
Sir Michael, we need to speak about something, and this is very important. I heard the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Pierre,
Yes.
saying that if they get the reins of governance, they will not be able to borrow. My question to you, sir, what are they doing there?
Exactly.
Why are you trying to contest an election if you have no access
Well,
to borrow money?
St. can't deny that he told them before. Eh?
Well, let me ring the bell on that for you.
Right.
So if they elect him, and then he said, listen, I told you guys I couldn't borrow any money. So you continue, you still voted me in as your prime minister. I mean,
So if I do nothing, you should forgive me.
you should forgive me
But
because
you see,
I said that to
again,
you.
It's again what you and I have just been talking about. Philip Pierre as a person, a bad guy, but Philip Pierre, what has Philip Pierre run? What kind of business has he run to understand the level of business? I just told you, many people in St. Lucia would consider me successful as a business person. But on the international field, I'm very small.
You're a drop in the ocean. Yeah,
So
that is
when
true.
you're talking of people, now I'm not trying to say now the current prime minister is any great businessman, but he has had a level of exposure
Experience,
that even me, I never had the exposure he had. I worked abroad in my own little field, but the kind of people he has met and the friends he's made.
Yes.
This is what
Well
makes
connected.
the country what it is. And St. Lucia is blessed to have a guy like that. I'm telling you so. When you go around, I mean, a little country, 180,000 people.
Yes.
Yeah. He can pick up a phone and call Mr. Modi in
That's
India, right? Have a conversation with him. This is a man that has met the prime minister at meetings and given him an hour, 2 hours of his time to advise him.
And this is the difference between the Labour Party and the Prime Minister. I'm not just saying the UWP, and they made that statement and they knew what they were talking about. The connection aspect
Correct.
of it. They don't have the connection that the Honourable Prime Minister has.
Look,
all of them combined don't know people. They don't know
have
anyone.
it. Yeah. But people are gifted with certain ways, Champagne,
Yes.
that way they can meet people. Look, 2 days ago, I overheard the conversation. I didn't listen to it, not my business. The man was having a long conversation with the cruise line. I couldn't believe what was being said.
Yes.
You know, the kind of arrangement he's already making.
By the man you're referring to, the Prime Minister?
Yes, the Prime Minister.
Okay.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, I mean, Champagne, when a cruise ship comes here in June, every week, you know what that's going to do for the taxis?
Oh my goodness. They have
Yeah.
been struggling
And
over
their-
a
and-
year.
Can you
their-
understand
And their
that?
families, Sir Michael.
Yeah.
And their families.
And the vendors who haven't sold a damn thing for almost a year now.
Over a year.
Okay?
Over a year.
So, brother,
Imagine
I
that,
should be happy.
Champion. Because of the man's personality, because of who he is, okay? Look at how many people are going to benefit from that. Tell me that the Lord puts people in certain places to do certain things. Yeah?
And I believe the Prime Minister is a good negotiator as well.
He is.
I believe he is.
He is. Alan is the Prime Minister is very good at convincing people,
Yes.
working with them, and they believe in him. Okay? Let me tell you something. The other part of the conversation was the what you call it, the cruise ship terminal in the south.
Down,
Champagne, do you know what that is going to do for St. Lucia?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let me tell you something. You have people that are going to be merchants can sell stuff. People will bring in stuff. Stevedores will get work.
Yeah, people
You know,
overnight.
Tons of stuff coming in.
Yeah. And
That's a major coup.
the best part of that cruise ship port is the people, the passengers overnighting. So you have a town of Vieux-Fort where people, they go to their hotel and they're going to get their ship tomorrow, but they're going to be out there venturing into the Vieux-Fort town, going to different restaurants,
Yeah,
various
but let
places.
me just support Sir Michael on leadership. I was in St. Kitts when the OECS agreement was being signed. Myself as Foreign Minister in St. Lucia, and Winston Snack, Prime Minister.
Yeah.
When Maurice Bishop, Prime Minister of Grenada, arrived in St. Kitts, you should have seen how the people embraced him. It was like a carnival. Everybody wanted to see Maurice Bishop and touch him. Okay? Maybe because of the way he got into office. That had not been done in the Caribbean before. I just finished reading a book based on his life and how he died with some of his followers. And one of the things I knew, but I read again just last week in that book, is that Fidel Castro, who helps all the islands up to now, and who had given a lot of support to Maurice to build the airport in Grenada at Point Celine, wanted nothing to do with anybody except if Bishop said so. He dealt only with the leader. And some governments in the world, that's what they do.
It's true.
I arrived in Washington, D.C. with Prime Minister Snack. When the guy's Secret Service grabbed him and put him at the back of their vehicle and took off with him, I was not able to go with him, you know.
No.
I was Minister of Foreign Affairs. I had my own vehicle and my own group of guys, you know.
Yes.
But they made sure, and you see the fuss they made over Winston Snack at the time.
As the leader.
That is how countries work.
Yes.
When Alan Chastanet speaks, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, when he speaks for St. Lucia. And leaders of the world, whether it is communist, socialist, democratic, however you call them, they will listen because you are representing your country as leader. So people who don't understand that, who wants to papi show him and bring him down, they are bringing down their own themselves.
Yeah.
Not Alan Chastanet.
And Brother Peter, and to you, Sir Michael, connection is very important.
It's crucial.
It's like me
It's
here.
crucial, Champagne.
So Michael, I need a loan. And I say to Michael, I'm in a little bit of trouble. I can't get a loan. But I talk to you. And you say, Champagne, let me make a phone call. So you call a friend of yours at the bank. And because of your connection, I will get that loan. This is what this Prime Minister is about. He's well connected.
Champagne,
And this is the difference with the Labour Party.
let me say something to you, and I'm saying it to St. Lucia now. Elections around the corner. St. Lucians need to think very, very carefully that no mistake is made.
I believe that.
The failure of not putting back this government into power is the demise of St. Lucia.
No, I believe that.
Let me say something to you. What is ready to unfold in this country is beyond expectations. I'm telling you so.
Yes, sir.
Okay? When you look at the kind of development that's going to take place, it's already started. The foundation has been laid. Any disruption now
Yeah,
will be a downside.
I believe that.
But,
we know that.
So, Michael, with all due respect to you, all the Labour Party fellas know that, you know.
They all do.
That is why they're fighting so hard, because
all
they
do.
know that when, not if, I'm confident that I know my people in St. Lucia well enough to tell you, when this government is returned to office, the Labour Party people, you can start counting of those who will never be there in politics again.
I believe
Correct,
that.
yeah.
We will need a new, and by we, I'm speaking as a St.
A new-
Lucian,
a new group.
totally new group.
Yes.
You know,
And it will happen.
And somebody
It will happen.
said on Norbert this morning, they might even have to call this what they have there by another name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to make predictions. But Alan Chastanet, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, has done all the things that he is supposed to do to set the foundation for St. Lucia to take off. To take off in a meaningful way.
And it's
That
right there.
Barbados and the other islands will be looking, and you'll see how many people will try to come and live in St. Lucia, to work in St. Lucia.
Maybe this is one of the reasons why Barbados borrowed $1 billion, that they realize what is happening in St. Lucia. All right, St. Lucia, we will be turning on our phone lines if you'd like to call in to ask a question
Nothing is
to
always
our program.
disappearing
The
from
number
me.
is always
I don't know why this thing is
456
always
456.
misbehaving. Yeah, thank you.
Our numbers here are 4560931, 4560931, or 4850931.
Yeah.
It went off again.
Just flip this up like this.
We'll have to get a new setup here.
We have a robotic kind of. Better, Peter, before we, yes, our phone lines are open. St. Lucia, if you'd like to call in, 4560931 is our number. A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Champagne and crew.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, sir.
I want to wish all of you all a blessing. I'm calling from Soufre.
Yes, thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
First time calling, you know.
Oh, let me give you the bell. We always do for our first-time callers.
Yeah, but I've been listening to that program from time.
Thank
know?
you, thank you.
But the only one thing I just want to say, they say it's time to start giving the T-shirts or whatever for the campaign side and so forth. We want the T-shirts, eh?
Well, I'll tell you
All right.
something in that regard. The T-shirts could be given, but there's not going to be any rallies until we get the nod.
No, from the T-shirt there, that's the rally.
Or you just want to have your T-shirt on?
Yeah.
That's T-shirt where we
Okay.
did.
All right. The executive members of the party, I know they are listening, so they help you. All right.
All
Thanks a
right,
lot.
have a nice day.
All right. Beautiful. And to you too. All right. He's saying that.
By the way, I want to remind Brother Norbert, I ordered a T-shirt, you know, blue one, keeping it real.
We do have some Sky FM T-shirts coming
Sky,
out
yeah,
too.
okay.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How is everybody?
Everybody's good.
Thank you, very good.
Yeah. Well, I'm 60.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a blessed age. I was born in 1960, so I'm 61.
Mm-hmm.
1960 was the year of Africa, like they gained a lot of the countries get independence. Even the 60s was the decade of Africa. Well, our leaders don't mention Africa here, while, you know, I mean, I don't know why. But I heard the conversation about ganja. And I used to work for government, and I felt well I had to. You couldn't be there and be fighting against what is going on. But to say ganja was is not good, I think this is a very poor statement because I mean that's the reason why they make this illegal was effectively to the minority, which they would to keep us down by taking away from us what they figure we would make some money, and that has been happening for a long time. But the message I'm getting from the conversation you all have in there is that there is nothing fighting against us as a black nation. You understand what I'm saying?
There's nothing what?
Nothing fighting against us. There is no war on, for our souls as a black nation or for us to have another 400 years of slavery. So my take is, when people believe that all is well, and there is not much more that we can do, it stagnates the country. In terms of like for agriculture, we don't hear about coffee, we don't hear about cashew, we don't hear about, peanuts, we don't hear about anything like the Minibus Association. There's a reality as to how it.
So to fast track, caller, what would you like to see happen with those products?
These are very important that they are disappearing, right? And these are forms of employment that definitely will generate more income than selling the land to foreigners, because they have money and they'll bring in stuff. Because if you do see that, you get 20 foreigners who will buy land. But if you invest in 140,000 St. Lucians, You understand? And you also give them the independence of not having to work for other people, or understanding that we are equal to the billionaires who were poor as poor as us at a certain time. But what they enjoyed, that's what we need to enjoy, because when we advertise to the British to come to St. Lucia and build and they can own the beach, we should not expect them to come down and don't expect to take their beach. Now, even if we quarrel, but the higher authorities told them they would get their beach. So by coming and taking their beach, it's like a whip on our back, so that they remind you that you're still a slave. You understand what I'm saying? So everything that happens wrong with the government, it has an effect, because the right thing can happen, but as I was saying, it's not mentioned, like coffee and what have you.
All right.
Because we have a lot of agriculture, and we have people here who are experienced, who are not able to enter the political arena, lived in room for all these guys who are criticizing.
Lived in room. All right, caller. Point taken, my friend.
But listen,
All right,
before you
beautiful.
go, caller, can you write a page of proposal, at least the equivalent of a page, and send it to Champagne at this radio station?
Yes. Well.
Put down your thoughts, especially in the development and employment of people on the land. Put that down in a short statement or an elaborate statement if you want, and try to send it to this radio station, either by email or WhatsApp, or write it down on hard paper and send it to Champagne.
Yeah, okay, give me a little minute, because I'm saying...
I'm going to give you just a few seconds, caller.
One second, give me 1 second. If you ask all St. Lucians to write a proposal about the best way to run St. Lucia, we have so many intelligent people in St. Lucia, and I don't see them coming into the political arena. But then what I'm saying, there is a reason for that too, but I'm saying just let us write that poem as you are suggesting, and then choose the best one. I think that's the best way to run the country, because no man is an island.
All right. Thanks a lot, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Special good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Okay, I'm just listening to your show there, Champagne, and I am telling you, remember there was a morning I called you and I told you that the Prime Minister is built like an octopus?
I remember.
Right. This man, from his mother's womb, God had already set his future for him. That man, every time I listen to him, every time I watch him, I study him, that man have arms like an octopus. And it's like the body is in the center, and he launches all his
legs,
his arms,
his tentacles,
his legs. Yes, he launched it out for St. Lucia already. Anchor, it is there, it's set and ready to go to deliver, and he made that happen in that 5 years term. He did it already. We just have to continue with him. We have to set that foundation with him. We have to board that plane so that he can take off. St. Lucia can, not him, St. Lucia can take off under his governance. And that man, I have respect for him. I have respect. That man is a leader. You can see his style. He is soft-hearted. You could actually see that man is feeling what St. Lucians are going through, what we are going through, what we are facing, what we have been facing when we were lost under the leadership of the 20 years Labour came into existence in St. Lucia under Kenny's reign. You know, like he came, he wants to help. You can see he really wants to help. And I know he's going to do it. And hence the reason the Labour Party is asking for call the elections. Let me tell St. Lucian something. It's not the Prime Minister that will be calling that election. That election will be called by God for a reason. He give us enough time to see what is taking place in the country. Listen to both sides of the political arenas, the Labour and the government. We have enough time to analyze what is happening, and more the truth is coming out. Now, Labour Party wants to call an election to prevent us from hearing what the government have to offer and what they themselves is doing.
Very true.
So that election will be called by God. And we are going to decide what we want to do.
Very good.
And we are
Amen.
going to decide the right thing. And I am telling you, St. Lucia right now, like I tell you, remember once I called you again and I told you that little country of ours is the last country to call an election. I think all countries in the world call the election already. All.
Those that were
And St.
due.
Lucia is in that spot.
Yeah.
We are under a floodlight and everybody is watching to see what we are going to do.
Caller, you
What
deserve
we are
the
going to do.
the bell for your observation.
What we are going to do. And the entire region, they're not saying nothing because they don't interfere in other countries' politics. But you see the OECS region, they are praying, they're probably on their knees right about now. And praying that St. Lucia make that right decision to go with the Prime Minister we have there right now. Because they know if that man stays there, it's not St. Lucia alone that will be gaining.
And I'm
because
almost
he is not an high Prime Minister.
I'm almost certain
He
Miss
is
Mia
not-
I'm almost certain Miss Mia Motley in Barbados is also hoping and praying that St. Lucia retains its present government.
I'm telling you, Mr. Josie, because that man is not an I person. He's a we. And when he say we, he doesn't only put St. Lucia in the we, he put the region.
Very good. Very
Listening to that man speak. You know, you have to sit down and put some cotton in our ears and close off the Labour Party because these people don't want to see nothing good for St. Lucia. Shut them up and listen to the Prime Minister. When that man make his contribution in the House, you have to listen. And don't worry if them when they talk about education and university, but we have to silence them for all these things to come into play. All these things will come into play. All these things will be fixed. The education, the literacy, the level of literacy we have, all these things, we will break that barrier.
All right, caller, I give you another few seconds.
Thank you,
You
caller.
know,
That is very
and
true.
I am rooting all the way for the Prime Minister, and I pray to God that St. Lucians make the right decision because I have my child growing up, my children, grandchildren, and I want them to have a sweet St. Lucia.
So,
All right.
so are we, caller. We
Thanks
on,
a lot, caller.
We're on the same wavelength as you.
Beautiful contribution as you always do. A beautiful morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Okay, so we lost this one. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Champagne, and morning to your guests.
Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
And Mr. Chastanet and Mr. Peter Josie.
Yes, good morning.
Champagne, yes, I'm calling from the south as always. The constituency of the Prime Minister. And I am
Which Prime
to this
Minister?
program.
Which Prime Minister?
Well, there's one.
Huh?
Chastanet.
Oh.
Honorable Alan.
When you say South, I always
That's-
associate Viewport with the South, you know. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No. That's Likud South. We don't have a republic like Library. So that's in Likud South.
Okay, Colin.
So, gentlemen, I listen to you. The show has always been a very good show, and I support the female caller 100% with her remarks when she could not say better than that. But there is one thing we need to be mindful of here, is that the level of crime in this country, it is something that is really troublesome. And I believe the Prime Minister is not playing a blind eye or not hearing anything as to what is happening vis-a-vis crime. So I think the next issue in terms of tackle crime, the Prime Minister would have, whether people like it or not, will have dramatically to see that some of those brutal murders so blatantly, those perpetrators does not get away with that. Because we have a law in this country, and I quite agree. Some other countries in the world are seeing what is happening here, and we don't want to get, the type of names where people say they should not be invested because of the level of crime. We need to get this under control, and we know for the fact that, no government cannot stop crime. But the fact of the matter is that when those things happen, and we say, it happened, and the next thing another worse happen. So I believe it is something that we need to deal with, or whether the opposition want to come on board or not. The opposition always have I think that is the only opposition that has been criticized everything, whether it's good and bad. So just forget about the opposition. The government has to do something to stop what is going on. Quickly, again, very quickly, the former Prime Minister's statement on the national security minister in terms of try to compare the term in government in terms of crime, how they combat it and whatever. I think if he was a man that has a good conscience, he should not even go there. Because if the morale of the police right now is down in terms of tackling crime, he is responsible for that. And nobody forget about that impact thing and where he went with it and the mockery he make with it. And up to now, the police cannot function the way they're supposed to. So I believe he should not even go there, try to compare crime with his administration and that administration, because the responsibility right now, up to a day, even as we speak, don't mind them. They are praise what is happening there so that it can make this government look very bad and they can score cheap political points from that. So he should not go there at all. If I were him, when it's come to crime and the police, he should just remain silent and pretend he heard nothing and say nothing. Thank you very much.
All right, caller, thank you.
Well
Lord.
said, well
Yeah.
said,
Beautiful.
well said.
But these
Thank
guys
you.
are all hypocrites. They will not stop. They'll always pretend. This is what hypocrisy does. And one thing I wanted to say to the caller, I think Sir Michael put his finger on the pulse of part of the problem, and that is we need to control the guns that are coming into St.
That's for
Lucia.
sure. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Champagne.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, elderly statesmen. Sir Peter Josie and Sir Michael Chastanet.
Good morning, my Mr. Bermuda.
You guys are very
Morning.
dapper. Very, very dapper.
Good morning. Thank you.
Mr. Josie,
Yes, sir.
I remember when I was little Barbados, Sir Gaffney Sobel was playing with this guy, right? And every game he used to come with his arm shirt, armpit, rip up and everything. I know Sir Gary told him, next time you come back here, you dress like anyway, your shirt all cheer up and thing, I'm taking it with you. Because if you're not a professional, even if you're not a professional, you're supposed to look like Maud. You're supposed to look the part.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, good morning, Conway, Barad, Dallin Road. Dr. Sharon Bramble George, good morning to you. Doing the good work. I'll be fast. Talk about our great Prime Minister. There's all about this man, you know. And I'll experience that with Baila the same way. When those guys are wrong, it's like, it's a god, man. I have seen principals trembling their boots, you know, man. They're shaking. They're so scared of the guy, man. When they're scared, they don't know what to say. Those guys are humble. Those guys are just special. Very special, man. I had the opportunity, thank God I had the opportunity to be among the great Prime Ministers, Sir Alan Michael Chastanet and Brian Lara. I can tell you, it's a feeling that you don't get too often, believe me. Once a lifetime. But I don't want to go there. I want to go somewhere else. We have a man called Ernest Hilaire. Ernest Hilaire. That went to Dominica, and y'all know what he done. And tarnished the good name of our country. Not only that, while he's a member of parliament, a lawmaker. Not only that, a vehicle was taken there for him, which is a disgrace. You understand what I'm saying? I am saying to St. Lucia, and I'm saying to the opposition leader, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, to call for the resignation of Ernest Hilaire. If not, you got to step down. You have to step down. He has to go. Because you're not going to take a man that is before the courts and doing something illegally to be on our ballot. As a matter of fact, your SFP should be on the ballot, period. You know what I'm saying? Do the right thing. Hilaire has to go. And he has to go now. Who do you think he's supposed to be? He's a disgrace. 10 people come for keys. Not only that, that same man down the south, he got to go on the ballot sheet too. Terry Anthony. He got no branch should be a kid too. Because I can tell you, gentlemen, as I said this morning, the late great El Barra, former Prime Minister of Barbados, had a minister in his cabinet that made one statement that Jack said, you don't want people to bathe on the beach. The beach belongs to the locals. The beach belongs to the tourists, sorry. And the people was up in arms about that. You know what the great El Barra told him? Give me a resignation, put your resignation on my table, on my desk. Okay? That's right. And that was gone. It was history. I am calling on St. Lucians to do the same thing to Kenny Anthony that committed all those, and the Assembly that committed all those atrocities, to put the resignation on the desk of Prime Minister Alan Chastanet. Not Philip here, Alan Chastanet, and step down now. You're not fit to be on the ballot unless one solution can tell me, give me one reason, one good reason why the SFP should be on the ballot sheet. Have a nice day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thanks a
caller.
lot,
Thank you.
caller.
Thank you.
Brother Peter, the question I asked earlier where the Honorable Philip J. Pierre made the statement about him not being able to borrow if he ensures the governance, the reins of governance of this country. That statement should be very frightening.
Yeah,
Should
but
be a
I
frightening
wonder
statement.
what would have prompted him to make that statement. I've been thinking about it.
Right. Hold on a minute, caller.
What would prompt him to make that statement? That would be interesting if a reporter would ask him that question.
Hold on a minute.
Hold on 1 minute.
You know, if a reporter would ask Mr. Pierre, why did you make the statement that you would not be able to borrow if you form the government?
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Nobody followed up. Thanks for holding, caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hold on,
Yes.
Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Can I speak to Mr. Josie, please?
He's sitting there. You could speak with him.
Okay, am I on?
You are definitely live, sir.
Say hello to him.
Yeah, hi, hello, I can listen, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, that's...
Caller, don't listen to your radio. Just speak to him. Yes. We could
Okay.
hear.
Turn down the radio, don't listen to the radio.
Peter, this is Oldman from MT Oldman. You said that's dead. I am not dead, okay?
Who is old man?
Mervyn Johnson.
Some name Johnson, he said. Rohan Johnson, I think he said.
Rohan
Mervyn Johnson. Mervyn Johnson.
Mervyn Johnson.
Mervyn Johnson?
Yes.
But Mervyn, I was speaking to Anton or somebody. Where do you live now?
I live in the CDC at the back where they have the Kentucky K42. You'll see two flags on my door. I live in at the bottom part.
Oh my God.
And as soon as you enter in the yard, you will see the flags.
Mervyn, that sounds like you, but I haven't heard your voice. Somebody, I was somewhere at some bar, that's even before the virus, right? And
Yeah.
I ask about you. I'm always asking about you.
Thank you.
Because I know what you were to me in the campaign.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mervyn, I don't forget my soldiers, you know. As a matter
Thank
of fact, I was so mad. There's a thing that Rick Wayne wrote at the back of one of his books. In an
Yeah, I know, I heard that.
Like
I was listening.
he was interviewing George Odlum. Garçon, c'est bon, Dieu qui faut couiller aujourd'hui. Listen to me, Mervyn.
Yeah.
Rick Wayne wrote that George Odlum said to him, the kind of person Peter is, that's Peter Josie, right? Imagine Peter had Mervyn driving him, and he told Mervyn to park there. Listen carefully, park there, Mervyn. And I left.
I know.
And I said,
I know
Mervyn,
him.
Mervyn, wait for me. Don't go, boy, wait for me. And I went somewhere and drink, and you were there waiting for me in a vehicle by the roadside. Mervyn, you
Yeah.
think I could ever do that, or you will allow me to do that?
No, I would not allow you to do that to me with me, knowing me.
So you will have to speak to Rick Wayne, because I'll tell you something. Right now, I'm revising the first 20 chapters of my story, my own biography, right? Not
Okay,
Shattered
okay.
Dreams, a totally new book. And one of the things I promised to do for my children's sake and for the sake of people who want to know the truth is to démentir,
right.
to speak the truth about what happened. Man, Mervyn, is God that kept you alive, because I would want to see you. The two of us will have to go to Rick Wayne one of these days. Take my cell phone number, guys, and call me, or give me a number I can call you.
Okay.
You have a number I can call you?
Yeah.
Give it to me. Or let the
460
460
1500.
1500 Mervyn.
Oh.
Mervyn Johnson. Let me tell you something, Mervyn. This is the greatest voice I've heard. That is like a relief. Because that lie was said, Gaston, that Peter made Mervyn stop the vehicle and Peter went and drank and left Mervyn. I said, boy, Sunday.
I heard when he read it. I heard when he read it.
The relationship that we had, Sandiford, yourself, Popo from Bocage, we were like brothers. I was not playing as if I'm mightier than you all.
No, that's not true. That's not true, Peter. That's not true.
Now, Brother Mervyn, let me jump in there. I know the relationship between you and Brother Peter, but I remember you in Castries. Are you mobile? Do you move around or no? I haven't seen you myself.
I move around. I had a stroke. That's all, but I move around.
So you should be up there about 65 now. What's your age now, if you don't mind?
73.
You're 70. Yeah. Oh,
Mervyn,
wow.
Mervyn,
Yeah,
I will call you. I will call you. I'll make an arrangement with Rick.
Okay.
Not this weekend. The Easter
when you want.
The
Anytime.
Easter weekend. They have to speak to Rick first. The Easter weekend, I will call you. We'll make arrangements. I'll come and pick you up, and we'll go and find Rick at his home and tell him this is the Mervyn you have in the book. I'll bring the book and everything. Okay? And you see the conversation we are having there today? When I get to my home, I will write it down as part of my autobiography, part of what I'm doing. And we'll relate the interview that Rick has at the back of his book and say that this guy whom I thought was dead called me today. Okay? Mervyn, we have always had great love between us, man. You know,
it have always been.
And the days of this campaign were the best days of my life, Mervyn.
All right, gentlemen.
I would never leave you and go and drink us some because we drank together.
Brother Mervyn, I want to say thanks a lot, my friend. And I have not heard you. I didn't see you for a long time, but I know you as a young boy.
The person that called you is your daughter, I suppose. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, tell her I'm going to call that number and we'll make arrangements. I'll come and meet you. We'll make a run. We might even stop somewhere for a drink. Okay, all the best.
Have a good day, my friend. All right, beautiful. Any footage? You want to show any pictures today? You have anything?
Oh, yes.
All right, so let's take. We'll take 2 more calls and then we're going to do our photo.
Okay.
All right, beautiful. Beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Champagne morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning to Sir Alan, Sir Michael, and
Peter. Morning. Good
morning.
Okay, I'm Champagne.
Yes, sir.
2 things, and I off. Okay, let me tell you. Don't ever believe that when the PM is considered to have that land. Okay, don't believe the PM don't know what he's doing. Okay, because you see when the PM win that election, there is something that you will hear and everybody will hear. But we're waiting to win the election because I know about it. Now, something I want to ask Mr. Josie. I don't know what the procedures of the House is and what are the standing orders. But the question remains, with the thing that is over Mr. Healy, with that kind of allegations, he was on the platform in Dominica saying, because I can remember not too long ago that Mr. Pierre moved a vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister. So can the government now move a vote of no confidence in Mr. Ernest Healy for the allegations that he mentioned and make sure that he not in the House until he clarify what he said in Dominica?
Caller, my reply to you is anything is possible in politics, and I'm sure that there are brilliant lawyers in the Caribbean. There might even be 1 or 2 in St. Lucia. If they want, they can find a correct procedure in the House that the Prime Minister can move a vote of motion against the member for Castries South. Okay, because I'm not calling names because that is how it will be tabled, the member for Castries South. I know we copied, or the English institution the political institutions was handed down to us from England. And there are a lot of loose rules and things about the place. But I feel certain that for a transgression like that, when you are bringing down St. Lucia and I'm trying to embarrass her, I believe that there must be some penalty to be paid. Okay?
Yeah, Mr. Josie, because I am saying if the Prime Minister never did anything and you and your leader can table a motion to embarrass himself in the House of Parliament. So right now, your leader don't see it fit to ask you to resign. So I believe the government now has to move a motion in the House and ask the Speaker until the member for Castries South, yeah, you corrected me.
Yeah.
Don't clarify the things that he said and make sure we get where that comes from. He should not be allowed to sit in the House of Parliament.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, Colin, and that is what we call double standards, and that is always a difficult and dangerous thing. When you're applying double standards, it's like they have two children. You're telling one of them it's okay to cross the road at certain time and do certain things, and you're telling the other one right away that they can't do it. You're confusing them. That is where you start setting double standards, and that is never a good thing, including not good in politics.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Morning, Champion.
Good morning to you.
Mr. Josie.
Hi, good morning.
Michael.
So, Michael.
Yeah, I was
Morning.
asking, what can you do with us in Monrepo, Mikuno, if we don't have a cemetery? And when somebody died after funeral, after taking the body from Viewfort, come to Monrepo for funeral and then go up to Deriso to bury the dead.
Mm-hmm. What was the one? What is wrong with the one that was there before?
It is filled. It is filled up to the brim. Only people with tombs that can be buried there. And there are other places they can look at so that we could have a cemetery.
Well, they better send planning. Somebody from planning should be able to go down there and give.
The member for Viewport North, you also take it up with her, the parliamentary rep, Miss Rigobert.
Miku, that's Miku.
Miku North, she said. Monrepo. Is it Monrepo or Deriso?
That's Dr. Gil.
Both Miku and
That's Dr. Gil. That's Dr. Gil Rigobert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be difficult because usually the way this thing is done, planning recommends to the government. These guys are qualified,
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Kola. It's a long drive. It's a long drive from Monrepo to Deriso with the body. I see what you're saying.
Both Miku and Monrepo. Yeah.
Both Miku and Monrepo have to go to Deriso.
I'm sure somebody listening will give somebody in government,
Yeah. You will have to take it up with the parliamentary rep, Miss Rigobert.
I may be able to send. I may be able to send a message via the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
To Miss Rigobert. I know her. I used to know her mother and father quite well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Kola. Well, take it up with her, and you go to the constituency office and ask to speak with the rep. She's there on certain days.
I will mention it to her also.
All right, beautiful. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right, our camera crew. We are now in the video period or footage period. So if you're hearing us, we would like for you to start showing us the footage that Sir Michael had given to you. Our camera crew, please, we are asking for all of those videos and footages that you do have, and we are into that period. All right, and Lucia, it is 5 minutes to the hour of 12 o'clock, and we are now going into our video period and our footage period. And just bear with us, so Michael
Okay, St.
will narrate.
Lucia, what you're looking at there now, it's a depot for the brewery, the new depot at Union, which is coming along nicely, because as you know, the brewery has been expanding at a rate, and to make sure that all the stocks in the north will be there. They have done a wonderful job, and that's it. Now, what you're looking at there, this is the back part of St. Jude's Hospital. This is where the ambulances will come in, I think, and the south side. And that is going ahead very, very well. And they're in the final stages of closing up the building right around. This is an overall view of the hospital so people can get an idea. So it's virtually now, this is the whole hospital there, completed right around, and now the finishing touches are going in. On top, where you see the sort of a special little bulge at the back, that's where the helicopter will land to take the people down when necessary to the hospital. And in the center, the spaces that you see, these are the recreational areas which will be left open. As I understand, those areas will be nicely grassed so that to give it that wonderful feeling. This is another view of the hospital from above, also showing what was there before, and what I understand through the grapevine is that the buildings to the right, arrangements have been made with a particular university already, so you'll have all the interns there, and these people will be working with the St. Jude Hospital. This is just on the right-hand side, that part which is all dusty. This is the new parking lot, and apparently it can take some 250 cars, I'm told. So they have to make sure that, because many people visit the hospital, you always have difficult spaces to get when you come in. So everything will be professionally done so that people can visit their family. That's another view of the hospital on top, a closer one. It really is fantastic what the people have done there. You can see the different areas now that will be left open so the buildings can breathe. It's another side view of the hospital, what it looks like. Another overall picture. Right now, this is the Soufrière Fonsejac road, which is going on. And what I have done, we didn't get the footage in time, but we had a meeting with about 5 or 6 individuals in the area who owned land down there and have not been able to use their land for years because of the poor road facilities. So the people are overjoyed of what is going on now, and that will shorten the time to Soufrière, and it's unbelievable what has been done. What we're looking at was a couple days old, but since then a lot of grading more grading has been done, and the roads have been backfilled a lot. So this is where we are with Soufrière. Yeah. All that's part of Soufrière. You can go along. Right, that's an interesting part. Now, I want St. Lucians to know exactly what is going on. All the vendors that were by the Daer Mall, they talk of the St. Lucian not being, the government not being a caring government. Here's what this administration has done. They have created about 60 spots for the people. Each will have their own, they'll have their facilities. The shed you see there, there'll be tables there, so anybody coming from passing on the road don't have to stop on the road to buy. They can pull a chair and have a bite, whatever they want, coconut water, a quick lunch, or whatever the case may be. And you can see for yourself how well done it is. You see all the pipes coming up where the water lines will be, where the electricity will be so they can actually walk late at night. Some people can, Rodney Bay, when they, by the end of the year, when the virus is down, you have all the French boats coming in, the Martinicans. Can you imagine how well these people will do with the amount of people just want to grab a short meal? Yeah. Remember, $5 can block a hole. Yeah. Yeah, so this is what is happening, and many people will pass. This is right opposite the Bank of Nova Scotia at Rodney Bay. Maybe when they pass, they don't realize what's going on. Most of the work is finished, and that is what is going on. Yeah, we can show them all along. Yep, these are the people that are already there. So, and as a result, what the Prime Minister said, it has been so successful. I think they already have some 60 persons there, that it has worked out so well. They had, I think he said, 300 applicants. Yeah. So what they're going to do now, it has worked out so well, they're going to be putting one of those in each of the constituencies. And I'm sure at some point in time, they will be able to find an area in the Castries Basin where this can be done too. So we can get the people off the streets and give them a home that they can call their own. They can go to the bank and say, look, I have this little business, I have a spot, and they can get financing.
And so, Mike, it's opposite the Bank of St. Lucia.
Yeah, in Rodney Bay.
Right.
Yeah. So excellent location, excellent location. Yeah, they're in the hub of everything. Yeah. Well, gentlemen,
Is that it?
that's it for now. And next week we'll be showing you a couple other areas. Yeah.
All right, so
Yes.
this was pretty much, we didn't
So
do
we're coming to us
too much. Yeah,
to
it is
close.
12:03, and we want to say, is that we could do any
Yeah,
more calls?
it was very nice being here, Champagne. I know you love the calls. I suspect you enjoyed this more than you have ever enjoyed anything in your life,
The
right?
radio station has been circulated.
Next thing I know,
The Champagne is being tested. When he gets the calls, he knows what he's doing. He's doing something right.
Yeah,
next thing I know, you're on a platform campaigning.
No, so this is the problem, and I'm happy that you're going down this road. Apparently, for some reason, every time the Prime Minister shows up here, there's some people that has a little issue with this.
This is just jealousy, Champagne.
No,
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm not worried. I just wanted to say that there for our listeners. The Prime Minister has the full access to any radio station. The times I'm here, the Prime Minister knows if he's at a meeting from 9 o'clock to 11 and he wants to say something to us, he has that latitude to call me up, and I will wait for the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister could share with St. Lucia the information that he has.
Champagne. If it was Kenny Anthony in his day, or even Philippia today, those same people would keep their, I almost said damn out, but not damn. Yeah. They would keep quiet. So don't worry about people like that. Do not waste time on people like that. Don't do that.
The radio station belongs to the people. That's all I can say on that.
Tell them the Prime Minister is a free man. He can come to any radio station when he wants.
That's right.
And I would recommend to him, but he not listen to me, who am I? I would recommend to the Prime Minister that whenever he wants to speak to the nation, come to
Sky FM.
Sky FM 93.1.
There's the bottom part of it.
And I'll tell you something, I have traveled first class in my life.
Yeah.
And not on government's money. I was stranded once and I had to spend money traveling first class.
Yeah.
And there's nothing nicer than champagne in the morning when you're traveling first class. Ask Sir Michael Josie. He must know about that.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Any last
I've
words?
done a lot of things in my life. I've been very blessed. You know.
I know you have.
You don't know half the story. That's why I must write.
I know you have.
You know, champagne in the morning.
That's right.
One of the best things in my days. Now I don't do that anymore.
Any last words to Michael on today's program?
Well, again, I want to thank St. Lucians for their kind contributions and whatever we ourselves have been able to bring to highlight what is going on, and we continue to do so on a weekly basis. And so until next Wednesday, this is Peter, Josie, and Michael signing off. All the best. Bye-bye.
And next Wednesday, I'm going to come with my black tie because it's going to be Holy Week.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And I will wear a black suit to recommend to people.
My MP said that we would have a new wellness center. Here we are. It's almost finished.
My community said we needed a new wing to our secondary school. And my MP said yes.
My sister said she needed help to find a job, so my MP created a job fair.
Our athlete said we needed better sporting facilities.
A new early childhood development center.
My neighbors said.
My sister said.
The children said.
Community said.
Roads and a new park. And my MP said.
Yes.
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 Of course.
Nous toutes, c'est yon famille en Mikoudnod. Et nous continuons pour faire progrès avec Antigel.